What's going on, everyone? So, in a shocking turn of events, the Milwaukee Bucks come out of left field and acquire Damian Lillard. Now, this is huge for Milwaukee. Obviously, you have a team that was already a championship level contender that went and got one of the best scorers and shooters in the entire league in Damian Lillard. This is massive, right? Damian Lillard solves a lot of Milwaukee's issues in the sense of having that go-to closer down the stretch. In a lot of ways, it was Drew Holiday that was doing that. And the Bucks basically swapped Drew Holiday and Grayson Allen for Damian Lillard. They gave up a first-round pick in a pick swap, but they don't care about that, right? This is huge for not only this season, but going forward for not only the Milwaukee Bucks, but the Lakers, right? This is a Laker channel, so I want to dive into how this trade truly impacts the Lakers on pretty much all fronts. So with the Milwaukee side, obviously this takes a Laker threat in the Milwaukee Bucks and makes Milwaukee even better. Even before the Damian Lillard trade, you could argue Milwaukee was the most likely to come out of the Eastern Conference, and if the Lakers came out of the Western Conference, they would have to match up with Milwaukee. Two teams that have won a championship, right? They won in back-to-back seasons, and that very likely could have been the showdown this upcoming season, and now is even more likely with the fact that Damian Lillard is on the Milwaukee Bucks. And Dame, I fully expect to be committed, bought in, because that is a question, right? He wanted to go to the Heat. How does he feel being in Milwaukee? I think he'll be fine. I mean, this is a better situation as far as winning goes, right? If Damian Lillard really only cares about winning, Milwaukee is the best situation possible because Milwaukee still has a very deep, talented roster that is going to be tough to beat for anybody, including the Lakers. It's going to be tough, right? Lakers in 6, I don't care, but it's going to be very tough, right? Because you're going to have your hands full with Giannis. Now you're going to have your hands full with a Damian Lillard. So now if you run into the Milwaukee Bucks, you probably have to start Jared Vanderbilt, and you're going to have Vando guard Damian Lillard all game, and then put Anthony Davis on Giannis, and then figure it out from there. But this is a Bucks team that basically kept everybody, right? Again, they swapped Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard. They still have Brook Lopez. They took Malik Beasley from us. They still have Jay Crowder. They have Chris Middleton, who I've always said I thought was a better third option than a second option. And now he is the clear-cut third option. They still have Bobby Portis, right? Like, they're in great shape if you're the Milwaukee Bucks. But this also impacts the Lakers long-term because I believe that Damian Lillard staying with the Bucks makes it so Giannis won't leave. I think that Giannis will now stay and re-sign and get a new extension with the Bucks, and then that's the direction that they'll head, right? This was the splash that I've talked about on As It Stands Sports about hey, Milwaukee's got to do something. Not necessarily Damian Lillard, but you can't just stand pat. You're going to lose Giannis. And the Lakers were a big destination for Giannis. The Lakers very likely would have positioned themselves for Giannis and wouldn't have made any deals or any moves or signed anybody that would have messed with that flexibility to go and acquire Giannis, right? Because you got to remember, D'Lo and LeBron's contracts would both fall off the books when Giannis could become a free agent. And even if they had to trade for Giannis, they have the pieces that they could have needed to go and trade for Giannis. So now, not only did the Bucks get better, but now you're going to have to look elsewhere for that post-LeBron star, which is fine. But as far as the now goes, this just makes competition harder, right? The Lakers are already going to have to go through a just juggernaut of a Western Conference. You have teams like the Phoenix Suns, who we're going to touch on here in a minute because the Suns were a part of this deal. But you have teams like the Phoenix Suns where, again, on paper, even with the Bucks getting Dame, on paper, give the Phoenix Suns the NBA championship now, right? I mean, talking Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant, and they just got Nurk, and they just got depth on top of that. Again, we'll dive into that specifically here in a moment, but give them the championship now for going basically and solely on paper. Luckily, that's not how the league works. We've seen plenty of super teams be put together, and it just doesn't work. Now, also with Milwaukee, Giannis, he's had some injuries as of late, right? Obviously, he got hurt in that first round and they lost to Miami. Dame has had some injuries as of late, right? So is this something that's pretty much every top team in the league, right? Even the Lakers, to be fair, you could say LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I always say I don't believe you make moves on the assumption that guys are going to get hurt, because nothing would ever get done. Nothing would ever happen. No player would ever be signed any deal. Everyone would just get $1 million contract because no one would want to do anything. But this makes it tough for the Lakers, because to me, this makes the Bucks the clear-cut favorite out of the East. And the Lakers are going to have to go through these tough teams to then go to the NBA Finals and take on the Milwaukee Bucks and have their hands full with not only Giannis, but now you're going to have your hands full with Giannis and Damian Lillard. And that's something that is going to be tough, because the one thing the Bucks needed more than anything was that elite, explosive, consistent scorer. That guy that can give you 30 plus every single night and can close for you down the stretch. Well, now the Milwaukee Bucks got that, and that is huge. But also the Phoenix Suns, right? So they ended up trading DeAndre Ayton, which I think they got better through elimination, subtraction, better by subtraction, right? Because I've talked repeatedly about how I believe DeAndre Ayton at some point this season was going to be a distraction and a headache. This is a guy that clashed with Monty Williams, and us as Laker fans, we know Frank Vogel is he's more of a passive, non-confrontational type coach that won't say anything, right? Jason Kidd was the guy when we won the chip that was getting in, the players' ears and getting in their faces and stuff like that. We heard all the reports the following year when Jason Kidd left about how Frank Vogel, he's losing the locker room, he's very passive, he won't call guys out, blah, 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 blah. You don't think he was going to do that with DeAndre Ayton? Of course he would. DeAndre Ayton clashed with Monty Williams. And then on top of that, he was already complaining about his touches in his role on the Phoenix Suns before they got Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant. That was when it was just Chris Paul and Devin Booker. How do you think it's going to be when you got Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant? So to me, this was a no-brainer by the Phoenix Suns. Right? Again, on As It Stands Sports, I was covering this old thing, and I talked about how DeAndre Ayton to the Blazers makes sense for the Blazers because they get their franchise center to pair with their franchise star in Scoot Henderson. And now they got a nice young foundation. They're also going to be able to trade Drew Holiday, which, side note, I see a lot of Laker fans wanting Drew Holiday. I would love Drew Holiday. It's not going to happen. He's one of the few guys I would actually trade D'Lo for right now if we could. Right? Like if we could trade, not because I think who's better, but I think Drew Holiday would be the better, like both sides of the basketball, defensive guy, can get after it, gives you a better point of attack guy, and can be a guy that can go get a bucket and another veteran in the locker room, right? Like, so that's kind of my thought process there. He's better at both sides of the basketball, where D'Lo, he's, to me, a better just pure scorer, but that's neither here nor there. Point is, that can't happen. Portland is looking to trade him now, and unless they keep him till December, the Lakers aren't going to be able to do that. But I digress. I just wanted to get that in because I've seen a lot of people talk about that. But from the Phoenix Suns standpoint, right, Nurk is a much better fit in my opinion. So over on As It Stands Sports, I had a lot of people tell me, oh, DeAndre Ayton, he's better, he's this, like why would the Suns do this, blah, 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 blah. And it's because it's not always about who's the most talented, right? It's who's the best fit, who's going to be the best locker room guy, who's going to be the best cultural guy, who's the guy that's not going to cry and complain about touches. Nurk is that guy. Also, Nurk is a better defensive big man. Not great or elite by any means, but he is better than DeAndre Ayton. And he's the better playmaker out of that position. If you're Phoenix, you can literally run your offense through him. You can run sets where you basically have Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant out on the perimeter, dump it down to Nurk, and let him make the plays out of the post. That would be just lethal, right? So this makes them much better. Plus, they got some nice added depth, which they really needed. Nobody that I think is like, like that's the guy that puts the Suns, fully over the top. But it does help Phoenix, right? Because the big question has been how does Phoenix weather an 82 game season and then be healthy enough to go into the playoffs? Defensively, I still don't think that they're going to be much better. I still have a lot of the same concerns with Phoenix. I still have. I just think the likelihood of Phoenix becoming what they should be just jumped up, right? Phoenix was a roster that I thought, they lacked depth. I think that they fixed that a little bit. I said when they made all the offseason acquisitions that I thought they did a great job getting the players that they got, and it was a little surprising, right? They just added some more players, but again, it's not just about adding players, right? It's more than that. But they did get some nice little complimentary guys that I think can help and be impactful for the Phoenix Suns, right? So I got to give them credit in that regard. I still have my concerns about the defense. I still have my concerns about Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. And I still think if Kevin Durant and Devin Booker miss any significant time, Phoenix could still be in trouble, right? Because they didn't get depth that's that good to where they could win a bunch of games without those two guys, right? And that's something that I've talked about with the Lakers. I fully believe that if Anthony Davis and LeBron James, knock on wood, not saying I want this to happen, but if those two ended up missing, 3 weeks or a month or something like that together, I think the Lakers would be fine. I think that they would be able to at least be, 500, if not slightly better, without LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Where Phoenix, I still believe, wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, Bradley Beal with a better roster than what he has now, minus, of course, again, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, but Bradley Beal, he struggled to even get into the play-in. He's injury prone himself. He's probably missing a bunch of games. So a lot of the same concerns with Phoenix are still there, but I do think that this makes Phoenix better. Personally, I think it removes the distraction, it removes the headache, it removes the possible implosion and the rift in the locker room. I think it gives you more depth, gives you some youth, right? Gives you a better fit at the center position, gives you a better playmaker, which they really need, because looks like they're going to have Bradley Beal at the point guard position. I mean, he's capable of making plays, but as the point guard, that's a big difference, right? Where now Nurk, again, you can run through him. Pretty much they're top heavy. They're still a lot top heavy, but also their top heaviness is a lot more injury prone because Nurk has been more injury prone than Ayton has been. So injuries are going to be the one sort of caveat, but Phoenix should at least be in the Western Conference Finals. Right? It's very likely going to be a Laker-Phoenix Western Conference Finals. The other sort of thing from the Lakers, does this put pressure on the Lakers to now go and chase a third star? Right? Because the Lakers could still get a third star and keep most of their depth. Right? They could go and trade for, let's say, a Kyrie Irving. Right? Just using him as an example. Don't freak out. But let's say Dallas isn't looking good, they're falling apart, and they want to get off of Kyrie, right? The Lakers could trade D'Lo and, JHS and a first-round pick and go get Kyrie Irving and still have all of their depth. Maybe even do a D'Lo and Rui for Kyrie and Seth or something like that, right? Because you got plenty of size out on the perimeter. And so, I don't know, I'm just throwing out an idea there, but does this put more pressure on the Lakers to go, all right, well, now not only do we have to compete with the Phoenix Suns and their firepower, but we also have to compete now with Giannis and the Bucks, who were already a team that we were likely to face in the NBA Finals. Now they just added Damian Lillard. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this causes the Lakers to kind of maybe look to add that third star. I don't think they're just going to add a third star to add a third star, but I don't think that they're going to take a fleece deal or anything like that. But I think if a Trae Young or a Kyrie Irving or whomever becomes available at some point this season, then I definitely think the Lakers look to maybe get into that race, get into that bid, and see if they can acquire that guy. Maybe I'll dedicate a video to that because I think that that's a good point of discussion in and of itself. But regardless, like I said, Lakers in 6. I still think we're the deepest team in the league. I still think we are outside of, because you have the Phoenix Suns who have 4 guys, 4 guys because we're counting Nurk, 4 guys that could give you 25 to 30 on any given night. I still think the Lakers have 6, right? Like, I still like the Lakers. I still believe that they're the only team with 2 top 10 players, 2 top 10 stars, right? And yes, Dame makes Milwaukee better, absolutely, but I think Lakers are going to be right there defensively. I think they're going to be right there offensively. I think Anthony Davis and LeBron James as a pair is still the best duo in the entire league, right? I think now, Dame and Lillard are going to be very interesting, but LeBron and AD are at least proven, right? Both guys can get after it on the defensive side. Dame, can't, right? Like, LeBron, he's got to kind of pick and choose, but we've seen him when he needs to lock down, can lock down. He's still LeBron James. This dude was still 38-8 last year, or just shy of 38-8 last year. And Anthony Davis, when he's playing to the level we know he could play, he's the best player in the league. So I'm still fully confident in the Lakers coming out of the West and winning the NBA championship this year, but these moves definitely do impact the Lakers. It's definitely something that the Lakers are going to have to kind of be mindful of. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Agree with my points? Disagree with my points? However you feel. Love to hear it.